Well, I think we really have to go back to the background. For 5 years, we had a steady state. They were about running at the same rate. In the last 2 years, over the Department of the Navy, we've had a 116% increase, not just the 50%. And we think that's the result of all of our training. People are more comfortable reporting, people understand the reporting options, people understand what sexual assault is. You know, in the past, I think that people put up with bad behavior and didn't realize that it was really sexual assault. So I think all of our training and all of our awareness campaigns, all of our advertising has really made people feel one, they understand what sexual assault is, and they're much more comfortable, they have more confidence in their chain of command, and I think people are going to be held appropriately accountable.
So it's more of awareness that's seen the increase, correct?
Yes. We do not think that the incidence of sexual assault has increased at all. In fact, our recent study that the Department of the Navy did with our survey shows that in all forms of sexual assault, and that's touching, contact assaults, they've gone down about 20% in the last 2 years. So we think that people understand and are unwilling to put up with behavior that maybe they had put up with before. We don't want anybody to put themselves at risk or put themselves in an uncomfortable position where they feel like they're in danger or their careers are in danger, but there are lots of ways to intervene. You don't have to physically be the person that steps in. You can tell a friend, you can tell a group of people that you're with. If it's that dangerous that you feel for your own safety, you should call 911 because that dangerous situation is dangerous for the potential victim also. So we think that there are lots of ways to intervene, and we're now trying to train people by interactive training that we've just started on how to do that, how to get a buddy to help them, how to go to a senior enlisted or a senior officer that may be in the area and talk to them about it so that you don't personally have to be the one if you feel uncomfortable about it. We've just launched a new program called Interact. It's a group out of California, the University of California at Long Beach. And it's an interactive program that we have started. We started at Great Lakes last week. It was our first training session. And this week they're in Pensacola, Florida. We're starting with the A schools and the young sailors, the recruits, the E1s through E4s, to get to that youngest group that's going out into the fleet. And it's an interactive program that runs sailors through various scenarios. It brings sailors out of the audience. It asks sailors, what would you do and when would you have done it in this scene? It brings them down into the audience, out of the audience, and puts them in the scene. And then the actors interact with them. So if I, for instance, said I would tell my friend I had the car keys, and so we had to go, you put him in the scene. He says, I have the car keys, and the actor says, don't worry, I'll take a cab. So now you've put the young sailor in a position where they have to have plan B and plan C, and it gives them more practical experience on how to intervene in situations. We've gotten fabulous reviews, not just from the sailors, but from leadership, from senior enlisted leadership. I've heard from people all over the country who've said they've heard about the Great Lakes training and they wanted to come to their area. And so I think the sailors are more interested in being taught how to intervene rather than being told to intervene. And so we think this is going to be a wonderful experience for a lot of sailors. We're going to go all over the world. We're coming into this region probably, I think our first foray into this region is November in Naples and Sigonella. The region has asked that we come to Rhoda, and so that's something that we're going to do in the future. Well, we have seen a lot of things here in Rhoda that we don't see anywhere else, which is, and good things. Rhoda 25, the program to sort of sit down casually and talk to sailors under the age of 25 is a fabulous program. And I know that the SARC, Judy Nicholson, talks to everyone, and everybody on the base knows Judy, which is really nice that everybody knows who the SARC is. We've also seen alcohol detection devices being used here, and we've heard from some of the senior enlisted, some of the people in security, that they think that's a good idea, that people are not dragging in after having had a lot of alcohol. We see programs that are inclusive here, that include the Army and the Air Force. We don't see that a lot on joint basis, and so the Air Force is involved in the SAPRO program with the Navy, as is the Army. Those are all fabulous things, and more importantly, we see engaged leadership. Captain Picari here is engaged, he's concerned, he's a no-nonsense guy, and he's really doing wonderful things for the space. Well, when we do training like this Interact, or we do SAPR L, SAPR F, SAPR Civilian, we like to do an assessment afterwards, and the best way to do that is to talk to young sailors and ask them what they thought about the training, what we could do to improve. And so we go all over the world talking to sailors in different environments, because it's different here in Rota than it is in Norfolk, than it is in San Diego. And we get constructive criticism, what they like, what they don't like. Sailors are certainly in a group like that, not shy about telling us about our training. And so we learn things, and we've learned this year from going out that when they saw the SAPR civilian training, young sailors and civilians like the scenario-based videos. So all of our next training is all scenario-based. They've told us they want to talk to victims, listen to the stories of victims. We have 3 new training products coming out, one for ROTC and junior officers, one for Command Leadership School, and one for the Naval Academy. We have 7 victims who have come forward and volunteered to be filmed to tell their stories. They're very powerful stories, and so those are on the videos. So these are things we do and we get from focus groups. The young kids, the young adults here were very vocal yesterday in our focus groups, and we hope to continue that dialogue today and tomorrow with them. We have heard around the country and around the globe pros and cons to the roving patrols. We get some pushback that they call it the SAPR patrol or the sex patrol, but it's not. It's a patrol to keep sailors safe, sailors and Marines. Quite frankly, you wouldn't want somebody smoking in the room next to you and lighting their mattress on fire, or having a hot plate that catches fire. And so this is really to keep sailors safe. It's not to go, bust in on rooms and do raids. It's really keeping sailors safe. And I think that the more sailors understand that, the more they accept that this is really looking out for them. I think that they have to understand that it's not watching them, it's really watching out for them. The largest contributor is alcohol. And it's the largest contributor for a lot of destructive behaviors, for suicide, for domestic violence, for child abuse, for driving while intoxicated. And so we think that alcohol is really the main contributing factor. Other contributing factors to sexual assault is just probably not being aware of your surroundings and not looking for the signs of maybe some dangerous situations. And when we talk about intervention, when we talk about alcohol and intervention, when we talk about bystander intervention, this is not a SAPR, be all end all. This is for all sorts of behaviors. We see in our surveys over the last year, we did last October, that 50% of the sailors and Marines who took that survey said that they or someone they know had intervened in a situation that involved heavy drinking. Well, if we have 50% of the force involved in intervening in heavy drinking, and we get the other 50% doing the same thing, we will stop a lot of the other behaviors. The sexual assaults, the domestic violence, the DUIs, the bar fights, those kind of behaviors that are fueled by alcohol.
Wow.
It started at Fleet Forces Command in Norfolk, and it is spreading. And I did notice them when I was in the Navy Exchange here, and I thought this is a good idea. People need to be aware of what happens when they drink too much. And the CSAD chapter here is fabulous. And there's CSADs on the ship, there's CSADs at the shore base, and you have Air Force personnel taking part in the CSAD movement, which as I said, we don't see everywhere else in the Navy.
So Rota's a unique place.
It is very unique. As I said, we've got 3 new training packages coming. They'll be launched probably at the end of the summer. And beyond that, we've started 3 more training packages. One is for the young recruits coming into the Navy. One is for Senior Enlisted Academy. And one is for those awaiting processing into the service. And it's really, that last package is really for young high school students who've never heard of the Navy, so it doesn't talk about leading petty officers, and it doesn't talk about ships, and it doesn't talk about deployment, but it just talks about respecting one another and core values. And we think that will be launch probably next spring as that comes out. We're also looking at putting together a film library for the fleet to use. So if you want to pull up just an interview with a victim, you can do that for your GMT. It's 5 minutes. It won't be 2-hour training, but it'll be little pieces. You can listen to the JAG, Vice Admiral Dorenzi, talk about what is consent, what is incapacitation, things that a lot of us struggle with on the definitions. And I would like to say that the Navy has done, the Navy and the Marine Corps both, because I do oversight on both, has done tremendous things to try to eradicate sexual assault from the services. And we're very, very proud of some of the work we've done. In fact, the Department of Defense strategic plan that just came out last fall incorporated a lot of the things that the Navy and the Marine Corps have been doing for the last 3 or 4 years. And so we're happy and we're very proud that the Department of Defense has taken some of our best practices and is distributing them throughout all of our sister services.
So we're paving the way.
We are paving the way. And people here in Rhode are paving the way with innovative and very enthusiastic sailors and civilians.